So I have a question for you. When you think of toys, what's the first thought that pops into your mind? Maybe it's a character, or it's a specific action figure or toy you had as a kid that you spent countless hours playing with. Maybe it's a fond memory or a specific play set you had as a kid. Maybe even a video game or a game, like an actual board game. For me, when I think of toys, my mind immediately goes to this. God, friend in me. The Toy Story movies. And for the last almost 30 years, Toy Story has been a part of people's lives since the first one was made back in 1995. And with the recent announcement of a fifth Toy Story movie on the way, coming in 2026, we're going to be taking a look at the Toy Story franchise, ranking it from the worst to the best. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey friends, welcome to the Disney Pastor. I'm your host Tim, and I talk all things Disney, which includes Pixar animated studios. Let me know your thoughts on the Toy Story franchise down in the comments below. Let me know what is your favorite, or just go ahead and rank all of these, which by the way, all these movies are on Disney Plus. I will not just be going through, of course, the 4 Toy Story movies. I'll also be talking about Lightyear, as well as the 2 TV specials, Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot. Let's dive into it with number 7. Coming in last place is Lightyear. Now, for the most part, I enjoy most of these movies. There's none that I'm like, I absolutely despise, because they all have a few good moments, but something has to come in last place, and this one is Lightyear. Now, if you remember, I reviewed this movie when it came back a long time ago. This was before the title change of the channel, but that's not relevant. What is relevant is I did watch it recently, as in the day I'm filming this review, and I still enjoy it for the most part. I think Chris Evans is a solid Buzz Lightyear, although I definitely prefer Tim Allen by a lot. That being said, though, it's fine. It's not like I hate it. The first 15 minutes are great. I think a lot of it is because they use pretty much nostalgic lines beat for beat. That definitely helped to bring us into this movie. I have a few problems with it, though. One of them being that we know Andy grew up in the 90s because that's when the movie's released, but also just how Toy Story 1 and 2 is structured. You know it's a 90s film. So, yeah, there's a few challenges there when it comes to how this movie feels. It feels very 2010s, for sure. At the same time, my biggest problem with this film is that, of course, the villain twist. It just doesn't work. Pixar has some really great villains. One of them is Zurg, and we'll get to him later on this list. But the twist, it doesn't work here. And it hasn't for Pixar pretty much ever. But that being said, something has to be at the bottom of the list, and Lightyear is the one to do it. Coming in next is Toy Story of Terror. It's kind of funny because I would actually kind of enjoy a Tower of Terror overlay of I'm kidding. I'm slightly kidding. It's pretty cute. I mean, this is 15-20 minutes long, but it centers around Jessie, which is kind of nice because, I mean, sure, she's a pivotal character in this franchise after being introduced in the second film, and she doesn't really get the spotlight that much, and so it was kind of cool. Plus, it's also cool because I forgot Combat Carl was in this, portrayed by the late Carl Weathers, and so that was fun to see. It's a decent time. It's nothing dramatic, nothing crazy. They did add some pretty good tension for 20 minutes, and it's pretty good. And that brings us to number 5, which is Toy Story That Time Forgot. I like this one better, and the reason for that is not because of it deals with a character we're not really used to in Trixie, because, she was only introduced in the 3rd movie and really had maybe 5 minutes of screen time, and that's it. But I think the story overall is more entertaining. It kind of brings us back to the first Toy Story, where these toys are all they remember is their universe that they're from, and so they establish domain with battle swords, which, by the way, those are some pretty cool action figures and play sets. I'm just saying, it's pretty cool. And so overall, the story's nice. It had a lot of the similar beats to bring you back to the first Toy Story, which is kind of nice. And they did it in about 20 minutes, so it was fine, but it's pretty good. It's an enjoyable time. Coming in at number 4, though, is going to be Toy Story 4. Now, this one I enjoy for the most part. I love getting to step back with these toys again, and I even said that when I initially went to go see it. I like being introduced to new toys. Ducky and Bunny is pretty cool. Duke Kaboom's solid. Gabby Gabby's an okay villain, but she's also relatable because of her motives, I think, work. Forky's definitely interesting. I know some people don't really like the fact that a toy came to life randomly because a kid made it. I don't have a big problem with it. I think he's a pretty decent character, but nothing special. I think what I like about this movie a lot is honestly just Woody's arc through it. I disagree with the ending, and I'll get to that in a second, but the arc that he goes on, I think, is pretty noble. This idea of like, I was once the favorite toy, and I want to make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that Bonnie has her favorite toy. There's something about that that's kind of cool. I don't like Buzz being sidelined or really just the main cast of characters. It definitely can feel like a spin-off at times. And then the ending, of course, I'm not the biggest fan of. I get why they did it. I understand why they did it. But separating Woody and Buzz just, to me, just doesn't work and doesn't make sense. I still enjoy it, okay? So it's not a terrible movie. But at the same time, like, man, the editing could have been better. And I hope they rectify it in Toy Story 5. To number 3, which is Toy Story 3. This one takes a massive leap. I mean, we went from 7.5 to 9. So there's a big difference. There's a lot to like about this one. I like the idea of going to Andy when he's all grown up. There's a realism that comes in with that, and seeing just how the toys navigate through it was kind of cool, and at the same time very relatable. It's enjoyable. Lotso, I think, is definitely one of, if not the best villain in the franchise. He's everything you want in a good villain. Buzz has some pretty fun moments. Woody has a really solid arc in this one, and the ending is just traumatic and also rewarding at the same time. I will say this, whoever's genius idea it was to decide the furnace scene, I'm monitoring you very closely, and I hope both sides of your pillow are warm, because I knew the ending of it too. That's the issue, is I knew the ending of it too, and I still hated it so much. Anyways, but the ending itself, with Andy getting a chance to play with his toys one more time, passing it on to Bonnie, right in the feels. I mean, it's a very special scene, and it just capped it off, I thought, so well. Yeah, it was just a really good ending. Coming in at number 2 is Toy Story 2. Now, for the longest time since I was a kid, Toy Story 2 was my favorite of the franchise. And that changed when I recently went to go rewatch them. I have no clue why. I still love Toy Story 2. I think it's just as good as the first one. I think it is a great story overall. We get some great new characters. Jessie, Bullseye, Stinky Pete's solid and a pretty good villain as well. One of the reasons I really do enjoy this one is I think Buzz has a bigger prominent role, and I think it just works over well. I think it's a fun story that has some crazy silly moments, but it just creates for really just a fun, enjoyable watch. I have a blast every time I watch this movie. It's so much fun. But coming in at the number 1 spot is Toy Story the original, and it's only like 0.1 point ahead of Toy Story 2. That's how much I enjoy these two movies in particular. They're two of my absolute favorites. I think a lot of it just boils down to so much nostalgia. Like, I grew up watching these movies, you know, and Buzz and Woody have such a impact on my life. And part of it is because of this movie. There's just something cool about the premise of the story. The animation is solid. I mean, animation has come so far from 1995. It's almost like next year, 2025, will be 30 years of the Toy Story franchise, which is absolutely insane to think about. 30 years of computer generated animation is insane to think about how it still holds up. The songs are great, the story's great, the characters are great and memorable. The casting's awesome. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen is quite the duo, and they create characters that are beloved not just by fans of Disney, but just people in general. And that's something that can be quite difficult, but that's one of the reasons that this movie is so special, is that everyone has a toy. Everyone has probably wondered the question, what do they do when I'm gone? And you kind of get to suspend your realism in this one for a little bit. And it's so much fun. I love watching these movies. I don't watch them enough. That may be my issue. But every time I go back to watch Toy Story, it's just fun. It really is. And Sid's a solid villain too. I mean, he's creepy, yes, but he's a solid villain as well. And it's just fun. There's no way around it. It's something that anyone can enjoy. That's what makes these movies so great, is that we can sit down with our loved ones and just sit and enjoy it. Overall, this is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Buzz is not just my favorite Pixar character, which I guess I just spoiled a future Pixar character ranking video. It's okay. Buzz is one of my, not just that, but one of my favorite characters of all time. Woody is up there as well, and I enjoy these movies. Like Toy Story 1 and 2, like I said, are two of my favorite movies ever. I have a lot of those, so take that with what you will. But these are enjoyable movies. Even though there are things that I may disagree with, there are things that choices made that I'm like, not the biggest fan of, particularly with, Lightyear or Toy Story 4. There's something about stepping into the world of Andy's room and getting to experience that. And that's something that will be fun. My hope is that Toy Story 5, as much as I love this series, hopefully will close the book. Regardless if you love them or you hate them, or you hate one and you love the others, we can still enjoy our time with these movies and experience the magic that was created. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your list down in the comments below. I seriously would love to hear it. Let's have a discussion, because that's what makes the movies so great, is it's not just me talking about my things, but talking with you guys as well on your opinions on movies. I enjoy it, so let me know down below your thoughts on the Toy Story franchise. And with that being said, if you enjoyed my review, give it a big thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. I also know what you like, what you don't like. And if you're new around here, I want to say a special welcome to you. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider subscribing down below and hitting the bell to be notified for more videos just like this one. We have some exciting stuff coming along the way. Side note, if you're a theme park fan like I am, I have a podcast with my buddy Aaron. Link is in the description down below to check out the podcast down below. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Goodbye.